If your question is, how do I get out of debt? What do I do first? The first thing you're going to do is download the worksheets that I have for you. They are available in the pinned comment and in the description. You're going to start with your month at a glance. You're going to write down every single bill that you have to pay out every single month. And that's going to be in the due column. You're going to put the due date of that bill. Then you're going to put the name of the bill, and next to that, in parentheses, you're going to have the billing cycle closing date, which can be found on the statement of your credit cards. Then you're going to have the current interest rate. So not the interest rate that you signed up with, because interest rates have been going up in the past year almost every single month. So you want to make sure you look on your statement and see what your actual current interest rate is. Then you're going to write down the minimum payment that you're paying, not what you actually pay, but what the minimum payment states on your statement. And then in the notes section, you're going to write down next to the credit cards whether they're private label or general purpose. Private label are those like Home Depot and Lowe's. You can only spend there at that store. Like you can't use your Home Depot card at the grocery store. Okay, so private label, you can only use at that store. General purpose are your Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover. You can use them anywhere. You're also going to write down on those notes sections, you're going to write down the balance due on that card, the limit of the card, and then if there's any promotional offers that are expiring, make a note of that. This particular client is putting $1,500 a month into a separate mortgage account. $1,130 of that is her actual mortgage, and she was putting $370 into that account for savings for emergency. But when I asked her how much is actually in that account, the answer was nothing, because she was struggling to make ends meet. So she was dipping into that all the time. So that brings us to the next step, which is now that you've written everything down, every dollar, now we've got to total it up and see if it adds up. So when we total hers up, her month at a glance came to $3,460.28. And then she stated that her variables are $1,100 a month. So that brings her to a total of $4,560.28. But the problem is her income is $4,130. So she is coming up short every month, negative cash flow of $430.28. So once we have established that, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to find the leaks and start making some repairs. So she's negative 430.28. So automatically we're going to go to that mortgage account. The $370 that's going into the mortgage account has to stop. It needs to go back into the mix. And that's going to bring her to a negative $60.28. So then I asked her, can you cut back on a few items? And she said, sure. So I said, let's take a look at Netflix and Spotify, because you already have Amazon Prime. Go ahead and cut Netflix and Spotify. So she's doing that, and that gives her an additional $37 each month, bringing her to a negative $23.28. So then I asked, do you think it's possible to cut $6 a week on your grocery bill? And she said yes. So that brings her to a positive cash flow of 72 cents. When you're starting Velocity Banking, it's crucial that you do these things where you look and see, how can I get myself as close to cash flow positive as possible before I start Velocity Banking, because that's where you're going to find the most success. So from there, I decided to take a look at her minimums on her credit cards and see if she's actually paying the minimums or if she's paying over. And she is paying over for two of them because they have promotional offers that expire. So her Best Buy card, she is overpaying by $51. So for now, we're just going to stop overpaying, and we're going to take a look at our numbers and see where if that is the best offer or the best option for her is to continue making payments on that. So $51 was added back into her account on her Best Buy. And then the next one I saw was her Lowe's. So she's paying $220 a month to Lowe's, and the actual minimum payment is $30. So we're going to add back in the $190 into her account. So now she's cash flow positive on paper by $241.72. But there is a glaring problem for me, and that is her variable budget. She has $100 for miscellaneous. That means $25 a week, and this is a family of 6. So the next thing we need to do is a deep dive, because I think there is a big, big leak in that miscellaneous budget. So when she deep dives, you've got to pull out, and I recommend this for all of you guys, you've got to pull out your checking account statements and all of your credit card statements. And I want the 1st through the 31st. We need to take a look at what you actually truly spend in a given month. Okay, so for your credit card statements, that's probably going to be the past 2 statements you're going to be pulling up, because those close typically in the middle of the month. So you're not going to get a full month. So when you do that, you're going to get a separate sheet of paper, and you're going to have 3 columns, one for groceries, one for gas, and one for miscellaneous. And you're going to just go through the really quickly. It shouldn't take that long. You'd probably be done in a couple of hours. So you go through there and you're just writing the amount down. You don't have to write the name of the store or the date or anything like that, just the amount. If you see groceries, write the amount down. You see gas, write the amount down. And then you're going to total up each individual column for each statement. And then we're going to total all of that up and see, are we really spending only $800 a month on groceries? Are we really spending only $200 a month for gasoline? And here's the big one. Are we really spending only $100 a month on miscellaneous items? And I think you're going to be surprised. I think you're really going to be surprised, because all of those credit cards combined with the checking account is what makes up our miscellaneous items. It's not separate. That is what we're spending, miscellaneous items. So we need to make sure we have budgeted miscellaneous items, because we are no longer going to be using any of our additional cards. Those credit cards are to be matched to bills only. So all miscellaneous items now have to go onto our primary card. So that's why it's crucial that we know our numbers, okay? Because velocity banking is not going to work if you don't know your numbers. If you're continuing to spend on your additional credit cards, it's not going to work, y'all. So that's all I have for you now. If you have any questions, please post below. The next thing we're going to go over are those promotional offers that expire and what happens when you haven't paid them off. Okay? Thanks.